Hello, welcome. In this second video, we want to look at advancing our knowledge of functions and include the concept of parameters or inputs and arguments. Now, I will also take a practical approach. The slides will give you more details about what are the parameters and the arguments. Now, let's understand this from a different example. Let's call this example function with parameter. Then from here, I will define my function. Let's say now create with function with parameter. Parameter are just the inputs. Parameter. So your function can accept some inputs. So this one, I want to assume that whenever somebody calls a greet function, they need to provide a name. Hello, so and so. So the lines of statement here, I want to have print, and then I can say hello. Then we want to give the name of the person. So my name is Robert. Hello, Robert, or maybe hello, XYZ. And print. Yeah, that's pretty much okay. And just leave it at that point. Then, as we said earlier, we need to create a function, then we need to call the function. So the next thing that we need to do is to do function call. So in line 4, I want to call my function. And how do we call the function? Use the name of the function. And then because this one it's a parameter function, this is what we call a parameter. So if I try to call it this, it's going to give me an error because the function call expects one parameter to be provided. Let's check what is going to happen. If I run my code right now, it's supposed to give me this error. Greeting with parameter missing one required positional argument. I'll talk about positional arguments thereafter, but at least it's telling you that you are trying to access content of a given function without meeting a particular requirement. This function requires you to provide some sort of input. So inside here, to correct that, I need to give my name or the name of the person that I'm greeting. So now this name, the function execution begins at line 4. It defines that I provided an input. It passes this input to name and then it prints that out. So how do we go about that? Check out. So now it tells me hello Robert. And if I was to change this to maybe XYZ, it's going to tell me hello XYZ. So that's the whole idea about functions with parameters. And this will happen in most cases or most often than not. Let's look at a second example. Still functions with parameters, but try to advance it a little bit. So let me save this as functions with parameter 2. And in this one, let's try to calculate the area of something like area of a rectangle. I think this requires what? Length times text length times width. I think that's the formula. So what we want to do here, we can default, let's say rect area, and then we want to pass LW. Those are the parameters. So whatever we're giving the function here, the function inputs, we refer to them as parameters. So this will be L and W are parameters. Let's call them correctly, function parameters. Then inside now the function, we can say what exactly we want. So we want it to give us area equals to L times width. So whatever will be passed, it's going, the two items going to get them and pass them to compute for area. So now I can say I want to call this function. Okay, so I'm going to say rect area and give it, let's say 10 and 5. Rect area 10, 5. So because it's expecting two input parameters. So right now it's supposed to give me 50 if I'm not mistaken. Oh yeah, I forgot to give the print. There's no output statement. So it's either I print this here or I can decide to print it from the also I can give print statement, and line 5 now executes correctly, hopefully. Yes. Why is it giving me none? Okay, supposed not to give the print at that point because I will talk about returns. It's given me none because there is no return. So for now, I'll talk about return as we progress, or what we call function output. So I will say print area. So let me give it at that point. So now it's supposed to work. I know why it didn't work at this point is because we have not used a return value. So, but I'll talk about that thereafter. So the area is 50, okay? So we can go ahead and say print area of rectangle is 50. So we do string here, another string, and maybe space here. We run this and we have area of rectangle is 50. So that's what happens. So you provide parameters, but during function call, these are called arguments. So remember parameters and arguments. So these are arguments, these are parameters. The line execution of this function begins from line 6. The values 10 and 5 are passed to L and width. So that's now functions with parameters. Let me stop the video at that point. We'll look at the next concept in the next video.